Back to the Radiant Woman podcast. In this episode, I'm really excited to be diving deep into the ebbs and flows in business, the seasons of business, and how to navigate that, right? And we also touched on releasing attachment to goals, which is so huge for high achieving women, overachievers. And we also touched on working from the flow state and how to really start to tap into that. So I'm super excited for this episode. And something that I wanted to share with you guys as well is I have been in deep creation mode and coming out of the winter, my winter into spring, and I have actually completely revamped and restructured my Rich and Radiant 12-month journey program container mastermind to have 2 levels. And so it is revamped, it is reduced, it is re-energized. So I highly recommend checking that out. We'll drop the link in the show notes. And then also something very exciting is that finally I have released a date for the very first ever Radiant Woman Live event. So this is a 1-day event, and it's going to be big because this has literally been brewing behind the scenes for like the last 15 months. So, and it's finally happening. So this is a 1-day event where you come and you're going to be in an incredible environment, in a room with amazing women. There are 50 tickets available. So in a high vibe environment where you are connecting with other like-minded women, you are creating new friendships, you are going to be journeying deep into yourself, into your body, dancing, laughing, singing. There's going to be some hot seat coaching. There's going to be a bit of everything. If you've done my work before, you know that I like to pull on personal development meets dance party, meets embodiment journey, meets all of the different pieces, breath work, everything. So it is happening on the 12th of April and tickets are limited. So if you feel called to this, you got to be in this room. You will not regret it. We'll share the ticket link in the show notes as well. Can't wait to see you there. Okay. Hello, beautiful listeners, and welcome back to another episode of the Radiant Woman podcast. I've missed you guys. It's been a hot minute since I have recorded an episode. And really, I have been in a winter. And this is one of the things that I really wanted to touch on today is the seasons of our personal growth journeys, which is also the seasons in our businesses, because our business is just a reflection of us, right? Our business is literally moving in the ebbs and flow in direct reflection to how we are moving in our internal ebbs and flows. And so, where to begin? So the first thing I want to share is it's really funny. I was literally on a mastermind call this morning with my business coach, and it was my last call with her. I'm finishing up. I've done 15 months with her. And we were joking around because I said to her, when I very first signed up with her 15 months ago, I was sharing that, I keep getting these downloads to run events, and I just love events, and all I want to do is run events, and I know that it's going to take my business to the next level and all the things. And she was like, yeah, absolutely, definitely. You need to run events, right? And it's so funny because, I really consider myself to be an action taker and all in on my vision and get shit done and all the things. Yet 3 months into working together, I still hadn't launched my 1-day event. 5 months in, 10 months in, 15 months in. And finally, I was joking on our very last call together at the 15-month mark. I'm like, the venue is booked, the date is set, everything is in place. I'm finally fucking doing it. And it's only taken me 15 months. And I share this because I think it is so It is so important to note that the strategy is the easy part in business, right? It's like so often we know what we need to do in order to bring our vision to life, to hit our goals, to step into the reality that we're wanting to step into, right? However, so that's the easy part. The most challenging part is the journey of becoming who we need to become in order to be able to execute and hold that vision. And so literally what I've been journeying with the last 15 months is becoming the version of me, the woman who can hold this next level of my vision, because I was joking to her and I said, I have absolutely no doubt that these events are going to absolutely blow up my business, 10x them and beyond, 10x my business and beyond. There's no doubt or question about that part. All the resistance and fears I've had to move through is around stepping into that next level of success. And this is the thing, right? And I think it's so important to know, not just for you as a creative entrepreneur listening to this, but also if you are in any kind of business where you are any kind of coach, mentor, guide, leader, right? Where you're leading people to step them into their vision, right? To know that I was actually talking to a client recently and she was getting frustrated with her team that she was leading. She's like, my team, they say they want the thing and yet they're not showing up for it. They're not doing the things. And so I feel like they're out of integrity. But this is the thing, right? As human beings, we're only 5% consciously aware of why we do the things that we do and why we don't do the things that we do. 95% of what is running our lives is completely unconscious. And so if someone says they want to do something but then they don't do it, it's not that they're out of integrity, it's that there are unconscious blocks holding them back. Because this is the thing, right? As human beings, whenever we are stepping into the unknown, there are going to be unconscious fears and patterns that hold us back. And the bigger the leap forward, the more usually resistance there is for us to work through. And so there has been so much that I've had to work through these past few months. And really, I feel like I've been in a deep winter season in myself and in my business for the last 6 months now. Really since August last year, and we're recording this now in February of 2025. And there's been so much, but the biggest thing for me has been I've literally had to let go of who I have perceived myself to be, my identity for most of my life in order to step into this next level. And the biggest thing for me has been, the biggest fear that's come up is, if I am this person, if I have all of this, will I still be loved? Because this is the thing, right? For so much of my life, because I've been through so much and I've experienced big T trauma and just so many challenges, so much shit in my life, for so much of my life, what I came to realize was that at a core identity level, right? Because we have our beliefs, our programming, our patterns, our values, but at the core of everything is our identity, who we believe ourselves to be. And what I realized was that at my core identity, I believed I was fucked up. I identified with being fucked up because of all the trauma experienced in my life. And so when it comes to our core identity, from that identity, there are going to be patterns, which are strategies through which we get our needs met in the world, right? So say, for example, high achieving women, if you're listening to this, it's very common in high achieving personality types to attach money and achievements to our personal worth. So in other words, at some point when we were children, if we didn't get the love and attention that we craved, then we created a story that we are not good enough as we are. So a strategy gets created of, I need to achieve or be this perfect person to get love. And this was me through and through. If if you're listening to this and you've worked with me in some capacity, you probably know about the Enneagram. I'm a 3 in the Enneagram, which is the achiever. And so that was one of the ways that I literally got love. And there are so many different strategies that we create as children to get our needs met. So that could look like achieving. It could be like giving. Always having to give to others and sacrifice our own needs to feel lovable and worthy. It could be perfectionism, right? It could be staying small because then you're relatable to people. These are all the crazy pieces. Because this is the crazy thing in our world, right? Is I realize that already now I'm in a place where, and even last year, right, I'm in a place where I have so much in my life. I'm in good health. I already have a successful business. My income is already very good. Like I'm in the top. I asked ChatGTP, according to ChatGTP, I'm in the top echelons of the coaching industry for my income bracket. So I have a beautiful relationship. So I have all of these things in place already. But where I was looking at, I know in this next level, it's like I'm going to be playing in a space that most people cannot relate to. And I realized I was afraid of losing that relatability. So this could even come back into the conversation of trauma bonding. It's like, how do you get that connection and love from others? For so many people in the world, it's talking about problems. It's sharing like struggles and pain and problems and challenges and gossip. Is how a lot of people get their need for connection met. So this has been huge, right? And it all came back to, for me, well, holy shit, I've got to completely shift the strategies that I've been running most of my life in order to get my needs met because they're outdated now. And for me to step into this next level, those strategies are not going to work anymore. I need to get my needs met in a different way. And this really comes back to the work that I do with women. It comes back to, can we give ourselves the love, the worthiness, and the safety that we're all looking for as human beings, and the significance too? So when we can start meeting our own needs and realize that everything we're looking for is actually in here, then we start letting go of those unhealthy patterns and strategies that we've used in the past to get love, worthiness, safety, connection. And we can come back into getting those needs met in a healthy way from ourselves. So this journey is so big, and what I want to touch on next is the ebbs and flows of business and the seasons of business. So I was recently talking to my rich and radiant clients about this, the ebbs and flows. And something that I asked them, because what's interesting is that usually my clients are moving through, they're like in the same season as me. And this also all links back into what's happening astrologically. But they were sharing, a lot of them have been in an ebb. And here's the thing, right? It's like in business, it's so easy to look on social media and see that, you know, people seem to have these journeys of like their success is just this linear journey of a constant upward motion. But if it were that simple and that easy, everyone would be a millionaire overnight, right? It doesn't work like that. The journey of growth and business and success is not linear. It doesn't go in this steady upward motion as much as we would love it to. It moves in ebbs and flows, and really the way that I see it, it works in spirals. And what's happening is we'll peel back a layer, we'll let go of something, and then we'll come into a new level of creativity and insight and awareness, and we'll take action. We come into summer, we reap the rewards, and then we'll plateau. And then it's when we plateau, when we're in stagnant energy, that's always when it's time to come inward again. And so what's important about this is my clients, they were sharing where they're at with me. And what I asked them was, when you are in winter, right? When you're in a very internal space, there's not a lot happening. You're not in a space of where clients and sales and everything's flowing in, right? It's quieter. When you're in that space, what do you make it mean about you? What do you make it mean about your business? What do you make it mean about life? Because what I see tends to happen for so many of us, happens for me as well, is when we're in an ebb, we'll make it mean something about ourselves. For example, this isn't working. I'm failing. I'm not good enough. And something I want to impart on you, if you're watching this, is you are not here to let money and achievements dictate how you feel about yourself. We are not here to let external things dictate how we feel about ourselves. So if you are in an ebb and you're making it mean that, because you haven't done $100,000 a month, a $50K a month, because your income dipped, it wasn't as high as it was the last few months. If you're making that mean that you're not good enough, or that you're failing in some way, or that you're doing something wrong, this is an opportunity where you get to reclaim your power and go, where am I relying on my financial status to give me worthiness? Because life is always giving us opportunities to become more free. And this is literally where we create unnecessary suffering for ourselves. Because here's the thing, in an ebb in a winter, what if it doesn't fucking mean anything other than you are in a winter? You're needing to go inward. You're needing rest. You're needing integration. You're needing healing. You're needing to digest. It's just unnecessary. We literally go into creating unnecessary suffering for ourselves when we start going in and creating all these stories about what the ebb means about who we are or how we're doing in our business. And so my advice, my tips, right? Ready? Here are my top tips for if you are in an ebb in your business. So firstly, if you are in an ebb, surrender to it. Trust. Go inward. Because if you can just surrender to the process, the irony is that you're going to come out of the ebb so much more gracefully and more swiftly. The ebb is a time where you get to reflect. You get to reflect on what's working, what's not working. Because here's the thing, we are cyclic beings. We are of the earth. We're not meant to be in summer all the time. And that's okay. So my other tip or piece of advice would be, if you're in an ebb, prepare for the ebb. Prepare for ebbs or winters in my business and in myself are inevitable. So if you get to the ebb and you're like freaking out and you're like, fuck, I can't trust and surrender into this because I need to keep making money. It's looking at, well, where do I need to shift things in the lead up to that? Is it that when I'm in the summer and everything is flowing and it's like fucking raining money and clients, do I need to have some savings, have a buffer? Or is it creating recurring revenue or passive income? So that when I am in a winter, I can really surrender and relax into it. Where I see people go wrong in the winter season is, number one, what I've shared around like making up all the bullshit stories. But number two is also tapping out and disconnecting. So when you're in a winter, it's not about becoming passive and just like tapping out. It's a time for deep introspection and reflection and connection with yourself. It's a time of growth. So instead of just like numbing out and just like watching Netflix all day or just being like, oh my God, or scrolling Facebook and Instagram, looking at, oh my God, they're doing so well, I'm not, oh man, I suck. Remove yourself from that. Do your things that bring you joy, that fill you up. Do things like breath work, meditation, go to the ocean, spend time with the people that you love, because that is going to help you move through the ebb faster. And let me tell you, coming out of a 6-month winter now, just last night, I was in my office. It's like 8:30 at night. My husband's putting River to bed, our son to bed. And the creative energy that was flowing through my body was fucking next level. It was just like this surge of like energy. And I was just so inspired, so excited, so lit up. And I was just laughing because the last couple months, I haven't really felt like doing anything. And there's been so many moments where I'm like trying to force myself. And it's just, I'm getting myself all in a flap, getting in my head of like trying to figure everything out and overanalyze everything. And it's so funny, the monkey mind and how strong it is, right? It's so funny because last week, so every week, Wednesday, I have a goddess day. And this is a day where I just get to do whatever I want, with massage, waterfalls, hang out with friends, whatever. There's no calls, there's nothing booked in. And last Wednesday, I called my friend up at lunchtime, my best friend. I was like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm meant to be recording, but it's just not flowing. And I said, all right, I'm going to come over to your house now. I'm going to pick you up. We're going to go to the bathhouse. We're going to go see our chiro. We're going to go out for dinner. We're just going to have the afternoon and evening to ourselves. And that's literally what we did. And we're also chatting. And I was like, sounds like you just need to have a really good, love-making session with your husband. And it's so funny because she went home and did that. And the next day she posted a reel saying, I think it was something along the lines of, there's nothing that a good bathhouse and bang cannot fix. And I'm like, it is so true. So this leads into like last night I was watching something on on brain hacking and tapping into the different states and the flow state, right? Which is, I won't go into all the different, the sciencey part of it because it's not my genius zone, but tapping into the flow state, which happens in a specific brain state. And research literally shows so studies were done on executives, right? And it showed that executives who were taking action and doing from the flow state were 500% more productive. So 5 times more productive than the executives who weren't in a flow state. So literally the reason that I did a post about this last night. It sounds like Goddess Day. Sounds very fluffy and like, yay, like airy fairy. But actually, I have my Goddess Day on a Wednesday for a very specific reason. It's very strategic. It breaks up the week. So if I don't have, so this has come through trial and error. Life is a constant experiment. We're always just trying things, seeing what works and what doesn't, right? And through a lot of trial and error, what I found is that if I don't have that day to break up the week, I just start getting I get super in my head. I start losing my creativity. I just start getting into a space of basically the opposite of the flow state, where I'm just like over-analyzing everything, getting really caught up in my head, and I actually become less productive and get to the end of the week and gone, I've worked so much this week, but where are the results? Versus when I have my Goddess Day to get back into the flow, get back into the theta brainwave, the flow state, I can literally work less and achieve more, right? Get 10 times better results than if I just push through. And it's so funny because it's like, I think there is such a deep conditioning of the whole 9 to 5, right? Work 40 hours plus a week. And it's like, as an entrepreneur, where are you bringing in an employee mindset, still trying to work like an employee in your business as an entrepreneur? It doesn't work. Like I've had so many people say like, I don't have time to take good care of myself, to have a morning off, to do whatever. The truth is, you don't have time not to do that, because you're going to end up working more, getting less done, getting less results, and you're going to be fucking exhausted at the end of the week. So prioritizing the things that fill you up, filling your cup first, putting yourself first is not selfish, it's smart, it's strategic. Because when you're operating in a flow state, you're going to be able to get 5 times as much done as someone who isn't, or if you won't. So to put this into perspective, if you are working in a flow state, you could work just Monday and get the same amount done as one of your peers who's working from the stressed out, super head, over-analyzing everything state. Then they get done in an entire week, in a 5-day work week. Okay, was just having a quick chat break with the podcast manager. Okay, so the final piece I want to chat on to just kind of close out this episode is just around detaching from goals, because what I've seen so deeply in my own journey and of so many of the women that I support, so many of my clients, is being an overachiever and coming into entrepreneurship can be like a crackhead entering a crack den or an alcoholic entering a liquor store. Because with our overachiever personality type, there's a light and there's a shadow, right? The light side of the overachiever is we're always striving to improve and be better and squeeze every last drop of juice out of life, right? But the shadow side is that we can become so attached and almost addicted to the goals, to the milestones, that we lose sight of why we even started this journey in the first place. of what is truly most important to us. And so what I want to say is this, is like, if you find yourself getting so attached to the goals, I want to invite you to look at, why did you start this journey in the first place? Why do you do what you do, really? Because if you are only doing the things, investing in coaching, doing personal development for a, say, financial outcome, then it's not going to be a very fun journey. But if we can come back to, okay, cool, first and foremost, the reason that I'm doing this is for the woman that I am becoming. Because recently, a few weeks back, when I was really in the depths and questioning absolutely everything, I saw my good friend who is a multimillionaire, and I said to him, I'm like, is it worth it? Like, I was like, is it actually fucking worth it? And he's like, yeah, the money's awesome, but it's the person that you become along the way. It's all of the things that you face off with within yourself and meeting your edges and stepping into what you never thought you could do. Really, this is a journey of coming home to yourself. It's a journey of learning to love yourself so deeply and to find joy in just being alive and through doing what you love. And really, that's the most magical part of this journey. As fluffy as it sounds, don't get me wrong. Money, the success that comes with this journey, this personal growth journey, is awesome. You know, like if I look at last year, amazing. I got to travel to New Zealand and Japan and speak on stages, travel to Hawaii, to Fiji, flew business class to Fiji, I have support. Like, that is all amazing. But really, at the end of the day, it's how I feel about myself as a woman, as a human being walking on this planet, feeling good to walk in authenticity with who I truly am and feel true love and joy in my heart. That's the whole reason why we're doing this, right? Because if we're not feeling joy, if we're not enjoying the journey, then you're not going to enjoy the outcome. It's as simple as that. And so, yes, set the goal. Get clear on your vision, but then completely let go to the attachment of it. Let go of the illusion that getting that is going to bring you something you don't already have within you. That goal is not going to make you feel any more worthy, like you're finally good enough, like you're lovable. If you can't feel that within yourself right now, you're not going to feel it when you get there, because as soon as you get there, there's going to be another there and another there. And that was my journey. Early on in this entrepreneurial journey was like working so hard and getting to this place where I thought I had achieved everything that I ever wanted, only to realize, oh my God, I still have this huge void within me, and it cannot be filled with anything external. It can only be filled with my own love. So that's where I want to finish today. Love you all, and I will see you on the next episode.